Hello everyone, it's Melinda here with CatSmashPuzzles, and today we're doing another special episode of an in-person competition that I attended to in July. This was the DFW Speed Puzzling Showdown, and it was hosted by a gentleman named Stefan, and he actually does 2 of these showdowns a year, and this was the summer one. It usually is held in June, but due to popular demand, everyone wanted it in July. I really look forward to doing this one because this is a bit more of a casual competition. It's not like so cutthroat like the speed puzzling ones are a little bit, or the nationals. But it is actually a competition that they were actually getting pre-qualified by the USAJPA. So his next competition in October, if it passes all the requirements for the USAJPA's rules, he could actually make it to where the next competition, the rankings that you achieve will be going towards your USAJPA rating, which is something now that I have received my black belt at speedpuzzling.com. I am now working on my USAJPA ranking because it's only based on my 2 competitions at the Texas State Championship, which is kind of my 2 slower results, so I want to actually improve on those as much as I can. But this one was pre-qualifying, so it does not count to the USAJPA. It was a good one to go and enjoy a day of puzzling, to go see with my friends, and honestly just have a good time, and end up with a lot of puzzles, as usual when you go to these competitions. So, as you can see, I have a couple puzzles on my board here. I will go over each one. There were 4 official sections of the tournament, and there was a mini, kind of a separate one at the end I will kind of discuss with you. But I got my handy dandy notes here, and I kind of want to go over each one with you. Now, I kind of told myself after the May mini tournament I would be a bit more better with filming and get more footage and pictures, but I failed at getting good pictures. I got pictures of the puzzles and the completed time. I didn't get any pictures of me, my Paris partner Christina, or our team. I was kind of talking and going around everywhere, and it just unfortunately was just, you know, I'm still new to the content creating, and when I'm in the moment, I forget I have to film or do something, and it's kind of that balance. You got to make sure you enjoy yourself at the same time, try to get the content that you need. So I don't think I successfully got all the content I wanted. I got some footage that someone else filmed of me when I opened up my solo puzzle here, and I'll get into that in a minute, but I think I should have done a little better with my content creating. And maybe if I do a volunteer as an event, maybe I could be better at it and not actually competing, or at least do one section of it and then maybe do the rest and talk more about it. But I think I'll have to find a good balance of that. Something I'll just have to kind of get used to. So instead of you just seeing me sitting here and talking about the event, you actually get to see footage or video or photos of the event. So I promise to work on that a little better, and I am filming this before I post my May mini tournament video, so any feedback for that video I can't put on this one, but hopefully the next in-person competition I do, I will see the feedback and hopefully make adjustments, or just, you know, take y'all's advice or anything you liked about it, I will continue to doing. So, DFW Puzzling Showdown was held on July 19th, and it was held in North Richland Hills, and a lot of people came to this event. It sold out for all the sections, and so there were 4 sections. The first is your solo, and the solo event was a 300-piece puzzle. Then there was the pair relays, which was you and a partner do 2 200-piece puzzles, and with that one you have to kind of go back and forth between the puzzle every 5 minutes, and I'll get more into that when I get to that section. And then you have your pairs, which was a 500-piece puzzle. And then you had your team event, which was a 1,000-piece puzzle. So I will go over each of them. I have footage for all 4 events, and I will maybe do a little bit of voiceover and maybe some music on some of it as well. So first things first was the solo event. You had to do this by yourself. This was a 300-piece puzzle, and the puzzle is Silly Cats. So it's actually this puzzle right here. And I can tell you right now that the picture itself was easy. It was cute. I had no issues with the actual image of the puzzle. But I will tell you this right now, as you'll see through the video, there were spacing issues. And then there was another issue at the end, which I will explain at the very end of the video here. Right off the bat, I looked at it. I'm like, oh, this one won't be too bad. I'll go ahead and run that video for you. Please enjoy the Silly Cats Eurographics puzzle. Let's smash it.
Well, this was a great start. First thing I noticed when I dumped out the pieces was, these are some big pieces. And as you can see on the table, I had a lot of things in the way, including the box top. I had to keep pushing my stuff out of the way as I was building the puzzle, but thankfully I did not push my timer out of frame. This was quite an issue many people had with this puzzle, and due to my items being on the table, it made it even harder for me to control the space. At one point, Christina and I were unsure about a piece that had ended up in the middle of the table, but it turned out it was hers and became a non-issue for me. The colors on this puzzle really stood out, so I focused on each section by color and tried to build them in their proper places, so I didn't have much to move around once I started connecting. Once I had majority of the puzzle connected, the spacing became less of an issue. Now, why did I sarcastically say it was a great start? Turns out, I was missing a piece. Because a piece is missing, you have 10 seconds to try and find it, or you can accept the 10-second penalty. Based on my video, the second to last piece was placed at 25 minutes and 50 seconds, meaning my end time was actually 26 minutes. Third place was 25 minutes and 59 seconds. So yes, that missing piece cost me third place. Where was that piece, you may ask? In the bag. While my official time was 26 minutes and 6 seconds, it did get me fourth place. So despite the missing piece fiasco, I still placed really well with this competition.
Well, as you can see, a couple things happened in that video. So my end result was 26:06 officially, and that got me fourth place out of 96 people. Now, a couple things. First and foremost, I went back and looked at the footage, and I realized my time is actually off by 6 seconds. And here's the breakdown of that. At 25:50 in the footage, I put in the second to last piece. I was missing a piece as I put that piece in. I couldn't see it, I didn't know where it was. And when you are missing a piece, the official rule is you have a 10-second penalty. You have 10 seconds to try to find it, so if you find it quicker than the 10-second rule, then when you find it and you put it in, your time stops. But if you can't find it, it is your fault that you can't find it, the 10-second penalty applies. Now, if, let's say, the manufacturer did not put the piece in, then we couldn't find the piece at all, then I think the rule is a little different. But in this case, it was my fault because I left in the bag, unfortunately. And that cost me third place. And I'll tell you why. Third place finished at 25:59. And if my time was 26, I missed fourth place by 1 second. If I didn't miss the missing piece, my time would have been probably 25:52, just to give me a few seconds to put that last piece in. And it might have actually even been faster if I hadn't been missing that piece, because that piece, when you're missing a piece, you kind of psychologically are trying to look for it and you just don't have it. So it does actually, I think, slow you down a little bit during the entire puzzling process. So for sure, the piece cost me third place. It may have actually cost me second place, because second place actually got it in 25:42, which is 8 seconds faster than my official ending time. If I had the missing piece. So, a couple things as to why that might have happened. One, I didn't check the bag, and you can't tell in my footage, but funny enough, the USA JPA ladies who were there to demonstrate, the competition and kind of be there for the pre-qualifying rules, they actually took a video and they actually caught me in the video tossing the bag. And I looked at that video a little more and I tried to slow it down. And yeah, I did not look at it. Or if I did, I looked at it like in 2 seconds and left it. I usually, when I have a bag, kind of just go through it like a couple turns and I look and then I get rid of it. Just to make sure I don't have a piece in there. Maybe this piece was turned sideways and it was very hard for me to see. Maybe I thought it was a wrinkle in the bag and I just missed it. Either way, it was in the bag, and therefore my fault, and therefore the 10-second penalty applied. Now, why did it stop at 26:06 and not 26? When you're in the moment, and the judge was also there, we didn't exactly start counting at 10 seconds, so it thankfully didn't cost me fourth place. But if I had felt like I was, fourth place was up in the air, I might have gone back and looked at the footage and compared my times. But the 6 seconds didn't cost me another place, so that's good there. So yes, I should have gotten third place. I didn't, because I did not check the bag, which I will give that tip to everyone. Please check the bag before you toss it, because this is why. And, I haven't run into this issue yet, but when you're on these competitions and you have a lot of people competing, people are off by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seconds, and a 10-second penalty can be detrimental to your place. So it is something that you should just consider when you're competing. And I unfortunately kind of had the bad end of this deal. The other issue with this puzzle, and everybody had this, and the whole room had it, was the size of the puzzle with the space that we had. When I was actually putting these 3 puzzles together, I kind of left it all on the board, and I was actually having space issues again, and it actually slowed my times down quite a bit. And I think that slowed everybody down a little bit. Me and Christina were actually next to each other, and there was one piece that we weren't sure whose it was, so we kind of put it at the top. But yeah, the space constraints were difficult. The pieces here are rather big. I don't know if you can see. 300-piece puzzle, I mean, there could be really small ones, like the Wizard of Oz ones we did at the May mini tournament. But the pieces can also be too big. There's got to be a nice in-between. Ravensburgers tend to be the nice medium there. But this puzzle was very big. The pieces also were very loose, and they wouldn't stay together very well. I like Eurographics. Like, the puzzles are fine. I just, maybe not the best speed puzzling puzzles, I suppose. Christina actually ended up being 6th place, and she actually did it in 28 minutes. So she was a couple minutes behind me. I thought she actually was pulling ahead of me, but she ended up slowing down at some point, and probably due to space constraints. This one was just hard to do for space purposes, but otherwise the image was kind of colorful. All the blocks had different colors. The cat's faces were a little bit more difficult, but once you knew what the eye color was, it was a breeze. So that was the solo event. Now we'll move on to the pairs relay, which I have one of the puzzles here. This was Exploring the Solar System by Eurographics, a 200-piece puzzle. The other one was Toronto Fireworks, and I'll put a picture of it right here for you. And Pairs Relay was actually something that I had not done before. I've done solo, pairs, and team, but I've not done a Pairs Relay. Me and Christina the week before decided to go and practice Pairs Relay because, when you do it, you don't know exactly what your methods are going to be, but I'll kind of explain what the relay means. You have 2 200-piece puzzles, and this time we had the whole table to ourselves, so there wasn't any space constraints or anything of that nature. But you had 2 200-piece puzzles, and each one of us would start on the puzzle that we decided amongst ourselves. We opened up the box, be like, oh, okay, you start on this one, I start on this one, and then at the 5-minute mark, we switched to the other puzzle. So we moved to the other puzzle. And one thing me and Christina kind of decided to do was we would pivot. So instead of like changing seats or going across the table, wasting some time that way, we just decided to have the puzzles sideways, so none of us were doing a puzzle upside down, and then we just pivot to the next puzzle every 5 minutes that it was announced. So the first 5 minutes, you start your puzzles like normal. It's not too difficult, but then when you switch after the next 5 minutes, it's a little jarring because you're now doing a different puzzle. It's not like you're doing a different section of the same puzzle. You're doing a completely different puzzle, and you have to kind of figure out what you're going to do, how you're going to do it. And obviously your partner is building up that puzzle, and then you're now building on top of their work, and vice versa. So that's kind of what the pairs relay is. And so every 5 minutes you switch each time until both puzzles are complete. Now, if one puzzle gets finished first, the partner who is now has no puzzle, the other one who's working on the puzzle, the one who has no puzzle cannot physically help the other partner. They can point at the piece and say, hey, that goes here, but they can't touch the puzzle. The partner who is doing the puzzle has to finish it. And if they don't finish it, the next 5 minute section comes along, the person who wasn't doing the puzzle is now doing the puzzle, and the other person has to have their hands off. So only one person is doing one puzzle at the same at a time. So hopefully that made sense. You'll see it in the video how we back and forth, because we do finish one puzzle before the other, and you'll see that. So once both puzzles are finished, then the time stops, and that's your time. So both of them have to be finished. So that is what I'll be showing you. So me and Christina did the two puzzles here, Exploring the Solar System and Toronto Fireworks. Let's smash it.
So I started on the fireworks puzzle and Christina started on the solar system puzzle. We didn't know which one was which, we just grabbed a bag and hoped for the best. I definitely had a slower start than Christina, but got the top and bottom borders mostly laid out and completed before we did our first 5-minute switch. Christina had mostly completed the top text and the sun on her puzzle. I exploded in speed on the solar system puzzle as it was much easier than the fireworks and probably had it over halfway done by the time the next 5-minute switch happened. Christina completed the bottom buildings and had managed to organize the mess I left. The second switch at 10 minutes, I got some of the fireworks done and Christina filled in more of the harder pieces. I think this was our slowest section for both of us, but we still chipped away at it. The final switch for us. I hammered away at the solar system puzzle and got it done in just under the 17-minute mark. And moved over to help Christina finish off the fireworks. She had connected the top border and just needed to fill in the rest. I couldn't touch the pieces, so I helped her out when I saw a piece and let her finish once she was down to the last few. We ended up in first place. It looks like pairs relays is one of our strengths, and I'm looking forward to doing more in the future.
Well, as you can see, that was massively successful. We did those two puzzles in 18 minutes and 49 seconds, and that got us first place. I think our practice definitely paid off, and our technique of doing it sideways and pivoting definitely made it look like we made the right decision on the strategy we used. So I was super thrilled with that. You know, especially after my solo kerfuffle with this missing piece, I was happy to see that we got first place. Second place did it about 45 seconds later, so I think we took first place without any issue. And I think me and Christina worked so well together, and we really did conquer the pairs relay. And I think that if we continue to do the relays, we will keep doing well. I think our goal was to try to get under 15 minutes, so we would only switch 3 times total, or if not, we would switch twice. But I think the little bit after 15 minutes is completely okay, especially the Toronto fireworks. I started that one, and that one was a bit more difficult. I don't know why, but I thought this one was definitely faster. I have done this one quite a few more times since then, and my fastest time on it solo was 12 minutes and 30 seconds. I think this was my favorite one out of the two, if I were to make a decision on that. So I do think that this was a good challenge of how we work together and how our speed works kind of by ourselves, but at the same time compounds on each other. So, but before I move on to the pairs puzzle that we did, there was a youth section that did another 200-piece puzzle, and it was called the Map of the USA. I'll show you a picture of it right here. As you can see, I did it in about 12 and a half minutes, so about the same time as I did this one, I think on my second or third attempt. And the fastest youth was about 16 and a half minutes, a little bit around that time. So another young person competed really well there. Christina also took a shot at it. I think she did it in about 13 and a half minutes. So not too much slower, but she she did it differently. She started with the border while I started with the inside of the map first. So just different technique. After that, we had lunch, and then we prepared for the Paris puzzle, which is this guy right here. And this is Kitty Throne, the 500-piece puzzle. And this one has a couple things going for it, and a couple things not going for it. And before I get too much into it, I thought for sure we would not have an issue with this one. It looked pretty simple. The colors were very just unique with each other, and we would maybe split this in half and then meet at the cat middle. But as you'll see, and when I explain at the end, that did not quite go as planned. So, for the Paris puzzle, let's smash it.
We got started by halving our pieces and flipping them over as fast as we could. I definitely need to work on my flipping, as Christina was faster and started to work on the red-blue curtain sections. Once I finished flipping most of my pieces, I began to work on the wooden floor and white wall. We again decided to do the puzzle sideways, so neither one of us was upside down. The lighter colors came together rather quickly, but our space was a little cluttered. While the puzzle fitted on the table, the pieces were still rather large, and there was a bit spread out, so we had to utilize more space. Once Christina finished the curtain and wall, she moved on to the newspaper, which I had gone ahead and sorted. While I didn't finish my section as quickly, I did sort a good chunk of pieces, which did speed us up when assembling. Once the wall and floor were completed, I worked on the blue litter box and the cat. Christina had started to deal with the more difficult, darker pieces. Once the cat and most of the blue litter box was finished, we only really had the dark pieces left, which slowed us down tremendously. The last 20 or so pieces we had to resort to shape sorting because they were all black solid color. Despite that, we just finished under 32 minutes. Not bad for a difficult puzzle. Also, we were just shy of first place by 16 seconds. So that put us in second place.
We finished that puzzle in 31 minutes and 56 seconds, which was honestly not bad for how difficult this puzzle actually was. Now, if you kind of look on the box, the colors seem bright, and there's a little bit of dark area over here, but when you actually do it, the pieces are a lot darker than they seem. And since I've done this a second time, my ring light here was actually making it a little easier to do some of the dark pieces, but the last, 20 or so dark pieces took me 10 minutes to do, and I finished the puzzle itself in 1 hour and 7 seconds, which kind of slow for me for a 500-piece puzzle. But I can tell you right now, when you have just black pieces, you have to shape sort, and you just have to go for it. And that's kind of what I had to do. That's what we kind of had to do during the pairs competition. So what did that place us? We got second place, and we missed first place by 16 seconds. So the other pair ahead of us just managed to get those black pieces in a little bit faster than us. So that was the result there, but couldn't complain. I think that we did the best we could with that puzzle. She kind of took the far side and the red, and I think the blue curtains, and then I took the kind of the bright colors on this side, and we just sort of met in the middle. Again, we did the puzzle sideways, so neither one of us was doing it upside down. And I think, again, that technique is probably good when you're doing pairs, just for the sake of, doing a puzzle upside down makes it a little harder. Some people can do it a lot easier, that's fine. The puzzle was a little harder than we were expecting it to be. So we got second place out of 67 pairs. So that's pretty, again, we can't complain about the result. We just missed first place by a little bit. So again, sometimes puzzles are just a little bit different for some people, and it's interesting how it all works out. I do think at this point, towards the competition, I'm getting a little tired. Christina's getting a little tired. And that fatigue does start to settle in a little bit when you have a day competition like this. But we aren't done yet. We have one more puzzle to do. That will be the team's puzzle, and it is a 1,000-piece puzzle, Knitting Kittens. And I'll put a picture of it right here because I did not take it home because I did not want it. And it was also, some of the same issues that came up in this puzzle was in the pair puzzle as well. But before I get into that, again, I want to thank Christina and my team members, Christina, Stephanie, and Emily, for letting me film. So we were also together for the May Mini Tournament, which we got 500 pieces done in under 20 minutes. So I thought we would be able to get this one done in under 50. We'll see how that goes when I show the footage here. So let's smash it.
This puzzle looked difficult, and it was. We immediately started flipping pieces, and once we were settled, we organized and sorted the pieces based on where we were sitting. Emily and Stephanie both sorted, so they were doing the puzzle upside down and handing pieces to us. They also focused on the top border and red window seal. Christina and I worked on the most difficult sections, the yarn, blanket, flowers, and the weave basket. The purple blanket honestly frustrated me. It seemed like a bigger section than it actually was, and it had numerous false fits. Christina really did fly through this puzzle, getting most of the balls of yarn and the large blue blanket completed. Stephanie honed in on the sky and trees in the window and connected the top border with Emily's red section. Once again, I struggled with the darker pieces and it slowed me down. I was given the gray and white cat pieces, but it was getting rather difficult, and I decided to switch seats with Stephanie as I was getting stuck. I began to work on the sky, which definitely went smoother, while Emily and Christina tag teamed the darker pieces at the bottom with the basket. We had left the cats for last as we knew the fur would be rather difficult, but but they came together a bit faster than the darker pieces. We just got under the hour, and that landed us in third place. We were pretty tired, so we were just happy we got it done.
Well, that was a bit of an interesting experience, because I think we flowed so well at the main mini tournament. This one, I don't know what happened, honestly. It was a bit tiring, frustrating, and I just remember getting upset with this puzzle a couple times, and I'm like, why? Why am I getting upset with this puzzle? So before I kind of get into our place and all that, this puzzle had a lot of dark areas once again. The basket was difficult. The corner I took was that purple blanket and the flowers were hard but not impossible. That blanket, for whatever reason, especially had some false fits, and it was driving me up the wall. And when it comes to false fits, that is kind of my kryptonite. I start to fall apart because shape to me is what makes me quick. The image is secondary, and so when you actually have pieces that pretend to fit in one space, it completely messes up my rhythm. So the false fits were a bit of a pet peeve on this puzzle. And unlike the 500-piece puzzle we did switch seats quite a few times because some other teammates were getting stuck. I know Christina got through a lot of the yarn. I feel like I didn't do a lot on this puzzle. I think Emily and Stephanie worked on the red window seals. I did get the flowers and the purple blanket done, which was good. But our time, while good, was not the best. I was hoping to get under 50 minutes, but we got 59:15, which we did get under the hour, which is great. And that put us in third place out of 27 teams. And we, third, second, and first, were the only teams that got under with the 1 hour mark. Everybody else had over the hour. But I do think this puzzle was just a bit more difficult, as all the other teams had a hard time with it as well. You did have, I think, 2 to 3, I think it was 3 hours to finish it, maybe 2. I'm not 100% sure on that. But I think every team finished except for a couple. I think that at the end of the day, doing a 1,000-piece puzzle was a bit on the tiring side, and I think all of us were a little fatigued. I know Stephanie and Emily did not participate in the solo, but they did the pairs relay in pairs, so they still had some puzzles ahead. And so I think, again, one of the other reasons I didn't quite film as much as I wanted to was I'm tired, I'm eating, I'm talking with my friends, so it was just kind of a combination of that. But one of the things I'm trying to do with these in-person competitions is kind of build up my stamina a little bit, because U.S. Nationals is at least a 2.5, 3-day event, and I can't just be tired at the end of the day on the first day and then I'm done. Now, it's a little different because there's a lot of gaps. You're in one round and not in the other round, so you do have a lot more time to relax in between it versus just a one-day event like this where you have them back to back to back. So that does make it a little bit easier to kind of relax and, you know, maybe not burn yourself out on puzzles too much. And Worlds is, as of the September one that's coming up in a couple months here, it is, I think, 6 or 7 days long, which is crazy. So, and I do hope to be there next year for sure, yeah, if not the year after. I do think that practicing stamina is important if I want to, you know, get myself ready for the nationals especially. overall, this event was a lot of fun. So a couple things regarding prizes and a few other secondary items here. So prizes were you got to take all your puzzles home that you did. First through third place got a puzzle each for all 4 sections. First and third place for the solo, pairs relay, and pairs got cash prizes. And then in teams, only first place got the cash prize. So Christina and I got cash prizes for our pair relay and pairs. But like I said, if I had gotten third place in my solo, I would have won cash, and I did not. So again, it's only my fault. I gotta look at that bag. But here are the puzzles I did end up going home with. So I did, since I placed in the top 3 for at least 3 out of the 4 events, I did bring home 3 puzzles, and they're all Eurographics, so this is who sponsored the event. And it looks like this one's called Garden Flowers. And they're all 1,000-piece puzzles. This one is called Asian Oil Umbrellas. I guess you can see I kind of got a lot of colorful ones. There was a couple that weren't so colorful, and I kind of managed to avoid those a little bit. This is the old depot station. Probably be a harder one for sure. And I'm not sure if I'll speed run these. I probably will, knowing me. But now, as you said, I only got 3, in all 3 events I placed in the top 3. So where's this 4th one coming from? Well, there was a little bit of a side speed contest called the Sprint Race, and it is a 36 little piece puzzle, and I'll post a picture of it here. It was from the brand Mud Puppies, and it was called Teacup Kittens. And the goal of that was to just do the fastest you can. And I did this, and 75 other people did this, and I did that puzzle in 1 minute and 11 seconds. And I won, and that's where I got the 4th puzzle. And this one is called Rocky Ride, again a Eurographics 1,000 piece. So I got 4 new 1,000-piece puzzles here. So, of course, more puzzles. The sprint race was a success. I'm glad I won that. And I did try it a few more times, and those did not count because your first attempt only was the one that counted toward the race. But I tried to see if I could get under 1 minute. No, I got down to 1:08, and then I ended up going backwards on the last few attempts. So that told me I was definitely fatiguing for sure. But I kind of did the math on it a little bit, and 36 pieces, you times that by, 60 seconds, it comes to about 2 seconds a piece, which to me is, I don't know if you can go any faster than that, 1 second a piece, maybe out of 1 or 2 pieces, but to get under 1 minute for 36 pieces would require you to do, 10 of those pieces in a second, and I think there is a physical human limitation to actually get it done. Like, yes, my brain is moving as fast as possible, but can my hands move that fast? And I think it can't, at least based on what I can tell. So I might delve into a little more of the physical aspects of speed puzzling. I'll probably look at the top times of speed running a puzzle, like the 17 minutes for the Rainbow Cats, do the math on it, maybe see if there's a physical limitation of how fast you can do a certain piece count. The fact is, I don't think I could have gotten under 1 minute. I don't know if it was physically possible. It might have been. I might try it again. I might even buy that puzzle and see if I can try it again. We shall see. At the end of the day, I think this was a successful tournament. Just have to do better next time. We definitely smashed it. Thanks so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I will see y'all next time. Bye-bye.